electrifying sport on the planet. Mixed martial arts. You've been looking for the definitive podcast to call your new home to hear everything about it. The search is over. This is the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. Bringing you the hottest MMA breakdowns straight from the heart of the octagon. This show is all about MMA breakdowns. For fans, by fans. We're talking UFC, MMA, and the occasional big boxing match. We'll bring our unique take on how these fights are going to play out and who we think are the best bets. Welcome to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. And now your hosts, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and Emiliano, a.k.a. Jive Turkey Nano.
What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter. I'm your host, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and with me, as always, is the co-host with the most, Jive Turkey Nano. How we doing, brother?
Doing great, brother. Should I say bien? Coming off this fantastic UFC Noche. Man, I'm doing good, man. I'm well rested. Still in awe of all of what we saw. Still in awe of the results. Happy to dive in with you, brother. Good to see you, man. I'm ready to roll. Let's go, baby. Or should I say chee-wee-wees?
Chee-wee-wees.
Let's go.
Chee-wee-wees. Dude.
We
What
back, baby.
A fight card. We are back. We are live. We are in action. All the exciting things, all the exciting adjectives. We are here to talk about UFC Noche UFC, whichever way you like to say it. We don't care the order. We just care that you enjoyed the fights. So with that being said, first things first, folks, we are going to address the elephant in the room here, as always. We're not going to hide it. We're not going to keep it secret here. I'm going to tell you how we did on these bets last week. Nano didn't really post any big bets here, but I digress. I did. I had a little sheet. So here we go. So these are a look at the bets. Obviously, one of three on the parlay there. Diego Lopez hanging down tight, holding down the fort. Where are you? Is what I was saying to the rest of the wins there. Sean O'Malley, he let me down on Saturday night. And so did Alexa Grasso. But it's okay. Sean O'Malley to win by submission, plus 1,800 for a damn reason. But he was very close. We'll go over that a little bit later. Sean O'Malley by finish. Other than that close submission, not really. And the Mexico parlay. Oh, man, as much as I would just simply love to just play this all night, it simply was not the case. Instead, man, Nano, this should have been you whenever I told you I was placing a bet on all the Mexicans that night. Come on. Don't be crazy.
We were very crazy. Yeah, brother. It was not a good night for my people, my Mexicanos, my Mexicanas out there. They went 2 for 6 on the night, and I'm not even including Brian Ortega, a.k.a. T-City, in that because he's American Mexicano. Pero I guess 2 for 7 because it was just, all around, no bueno.
Brother, 2 for 7 is rough. It is tough, but you know what's not tough? When you go 2 for 8. Actually, that does sound pretty tough. But when you're covering the spread, it's not that bad. Right? So across everything that we bet 2.5 units. The little tiny parlay here on Merab Dvalishvili and Valentina Shevchenko actually covered that spread just about within 0.26 of a unit here. So a quarter of a unit, essentially. I mean, come on. Fantastic stuff here. So Merab Dvalishvili and Valentina Shevchenko, again, I told you last week, if one wins, fairly confident it's going to be a snowball effect. It doesn't make any sense. I just had a fucking gut feeling, and that's what happened. Valentina Shevchenko got the win, and so did Merab Dvalishvili. So a half unit at plus 349 odds turned into 2.24 units. We'd love to fucking see it, kids. We'd love to see it. And with that being said, here we go. We're going to go ahead and start breaking down this card. Nano! Raul Rosas Jr. versus Gilong Aori. Other than a solid and just stark, what were your thoughts on the fight, my friend?
And the group Chiwiwis as well was a nice little touch as well there. But my thoughts were it was exactly what I thought he was going to go out there and do. Raul Rosas got the W from pillar to post. He was the dominant fighter. He was lean the dance. He had his game plan. He was striking just to get to his chain wrestling marks, and he executed perfectly. Not every single time, though. That second round, it was tough. He went 0 for 3 on the takedowns. They were even in strikes. But don't let that be the narrative. He was winning the whole time. He was in the driver's seat. It just wasn't the spectacular finish that maybe we thought or we were hoping to see. Wasn't the dominant 1 minute, get him out of there. This was a true 15-minute fight. I think these are great for Raul Rosas Jr. at this stage in his career. Again, he's 19 years old. The man can't even legally have a beer to celebrate. So unless he's in Mexico. Si se puede.
Oh, you froze for just a sec. Oh, there you go.
Uh-oh.
You're back.
We're back, baby. We're back.
Si se puede.
Si se puede. But yeah, brother, I mean, I'll toss it off to you. I don't know if anything stood out to you, if that was what you thought. I think we both were leaning Raul Rosas. In terms of all my picks, and if I were doing bets on all those guys, I would have got this one right, but I was probably close to 50-50, and that's being generous here. It was a rough night for us, but I think we knew this was going to happen, but curious to hear if anything stood out to you. I don't have any names that are top of mind for my boy Raul Rosas. I think you could throw him anybody in the top 25 and wouldn't be mad at it. Bantamweight division, a lot of mixing and matching right now. Obviously, we have a new guy at the throne in Merab Dvalishvili, so you never know. That always causes more ripple effects all throughout the rankings, and again, all throughout that top 25. But Raul Rosas, man, I mean, why not? Why not see what he's made of? Give him another tough challenge. I'll just boils down to timing, but I don't have any names top of mind, but I do think he should fight somebody top 25. Maybe someone will come up to me, or if maybe you have some good names. Maybe if I'll rank them. I'll see if it's a good matchup or not. But here's your thoughts, brother.
Yeah, I definitely have thoughts. So first and foremost, great breakdown, brother, as always. Raul Rosas Jr., biggest thing that stood out to me, since that's what you mainly asked, is the strikes, right? Like he has significantly improved in the striking realm. I think last week when we were talking, you were tempted to kind of sweeten the pot and lean in on a over 20.5 significant strike landed by Raul Rosas Jr., if I remember correctly. Maybe it was over 22.5. You said those numbers seem low. I said Raul Rosas Jr. has only landed that many strikes in like 2 of his fights, and not in the last 3 at all. So bad on me. I apologize to that, or rather for that to you. 41 significant strikes landed, 98 total strikes landed for Raul Rosas Jr. I mean, just a great job top to bottom. 3 out of 7 on his takedowns. The kid looks like he really did learn a lot this time out. And I really do look forward to seeing what's next for the guy. Now, as far as what's next for him, it's tough, right? If you look at the rankings, as far as Tapology has it, he is around 47 right now. Now, the names above him are big names. I'm talking about a Hyung Ho Kang, Mr. Perfect. I'm talking about a Marcus the Maniac McGee. I'm talking about Peyton Talbot. Hani Yaya.
Peyton Talbot was one that stood out to me. Maybe he should be higher, but yeah, if those are the likes that are in that range, I'm thinking, okay, maybe we can't skyrocket him too high now.
Exactly. So a name that does come to mind for me, and I hate to say it out loud because I like this fighter. I don't want to see him actually end up losing in this fight against somebody like Raul Rosas Jr. I do think it'd be a great test for him, though. Cody Stamen, the Spartan, I think would be a really tough matchup for him.
Ooh, another good wrestler as well. The All-American. I do like it, brother.
Tico Tech? Popping in real quick to say what up. Can't stick around long. Wishing you all the best. My guy, wishing you the best as well. Hoping you are having the best Tuesday of your life.
Anytime with us is time well spent, brother. Yep, absolutely. We appreciate you, man. I think it's a great name. I think that range is really good, right? I mean, Cody the Spartan, Stamen coming off a couple losses there. Certainly, I'm sure he's itching to get back in there as soon as possible, so maybe they could line something up in terms of the dates. Another 2 people, too, they just recently fought. I'm leaning more towards the winner here. He's ranked a little bit higher. But looking at a Daniel Marcos as well, undefeated, 16-0. Had a win last year against Sexy Mexi, who I thought would have also been a good matchup as well for our boy Raul Rosas. But maybe a Daniel Marcos, undefeated. There's certainly some name stake there. Maybe you could give him the nod for being an undefeated fighter, getting a crack at the young up-and-coming cash cow here that the UFC's pumping up. Not even that. I mean, he obviously is earning his notoriety, but the Chihuahua train is rolling, and that seems like another good name as well, potentially.
I'm not mad at it, man. Daniel Sankara Marcos, I think, is a really solid name. He has 0 submission wins, but he also has 0 submission losses. Guy's sitting at a 16-0 undefeated record, 8 wins by knockout or TKO, and 8 wins by decision. With, his last 2 coming, one over Aori Kilong, who we just saw the young man we're talking about beat, and the last one being a unanimous decision over John Castaneda, which is not an easy one. By the way, before both of those, he ended up getting a fucking split decision win over Davey Grant, which is no easy feat. One of my favorite fighters in that division to watch. So, yeah, man, I'm in line with that. I think Cody or Daniel Sankara Marcos. I think both of those would be really, really solid matchups for the young man. And moving into the next one, we have Edgar Chairez coming in against Joshua Van. I'll go ahead and take the lead on this, and I'll take point because, look, I'll keep it short and sweet. Something that these guys did not. They went out there and just swung for the fucking fences, if we're being completely honest here. Joshua Van got 3 of 3 of his takedowns. Really, really solid stuff, if I'm being completely honest with you. And, going 0 for 2 on your takedowns if your name is Edgar Chairez was definitely not business. Made for a tough night at the office. Granted, of those 3 takedowns, Joshua Van only secured 4 minutes and 26 seconds of control time, so a little bit less than a full round. And both of those sets of control time, the 2 minutes and 14 seconds, 2 minutes 12 seconds, coming in the second and third rounds. That first round was more of the Edgar Chairez show, for being completely honest here. He actually won that first round, in my opinion, and probably in the opinions of most, landing 40 of 81 strikes thrown, and 40 of them being considered significant strikes. His opponent landed 23 strikes to Joshua Van, and then again, when it came to the second round, he went from 23 to 101, and from 23 significant strikes to 71, while his opponent went from 40 down to 28. And then it's a little bit different in the third round. Obviously, both men looked a little bit more tired, a little bit more exhausted in that third round, but Joshua Van, again, secured the takedown, 1 of 1 attempts, made it look pretty easy, just timed it really, really well, and secured a little under half the round of control time, racked up 59 total strikes, 24 of which were considered significant, more than doubling up on his opponent when it comes to both significant and total strikes landed. Really, really great look for Joshua Van. And then he had an interesting call out, of course, at the post-fight presser. Nado, what were your thoughts on the fight and the call out, if you heard that part?
Double muted myself there. I did not hear the call, my brother. Do you want to, do you want to hold? I'm curious. Before we even dive in, you got to let me know, brother. Who was that? Who did he call out?
No. Give your breakdown, and then I want to hear if you think the call out it makes sense.
I like it. Well, there was a lot that I was looking at this fight, right? My boy Edgar Chairez, obviously the Mexicano in the fight, was certainly rooting for him. We've seen him be a violent striker, use all of his leg strikes, his submissions. And then coming in against Joshua Van on short notice, I thought all of those factors were leaning Edgar Chairez to potentially go in here as an underdog to upset Vegas and those viewers watching around the world. But that was not the case, unfortunately. Joshua Van, the stronger boxer, was landing the heavier, more significant strikes more often, able to get the takedown, able to get some control time. But really, it was the shots to the body that were the difference maker there. I think it was some point in the second round, Edgar took a shot he did not like, started to circle, probably could have got potentially out of there in that second round, but he's tough, gritty. Like you mentioned, I think he did win that first round, judging by the scorecards. It was 28-29 by all 3 of the judges, but still leaning towards a Joshua Van, who, again, took this on, 5 days notice, 6 days notice, I think, within a week. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Talk about staying ready. So, yeah, I think he rewarded the kid. Don't know who he called out, but again, I think you grant him if it all makes sense. Who, with that being said, brother, I mean, was it a valid call out?
I mean, I'll tell you this: the guy's already responded to him on Twitter and reposted the video himself and said, "Be careful what you wish for, buddy."
Ooh wee.
We're talking about a Cody Durden who just retired. Favorite fighters ever, Matt Schnell. That's a tough fight for man.
Wow. He's got a name next to him too, or he's got a number next to him, number 13. That certainly is significant, and I love it. Again, why not reward the kid? He's been proven time and time again to be able to be tough. He's doesn't have the best record necessarily. He's had some ups and downs, but I think he's ready for the bright lights, baby. Why not? Sign him up.
Sign him up. I think it'd be a really good matchup for him. And also, I mean, it would just be a really nice test to see kind of where he's officially at in his career. Joshua Van he's a tough son of a bitch. And I think so is Cody Durden, right? Cody seems to be welcoming it. With that being said, I don't think we need to play matchmaker. Sounds like it's already done. We'll go ahead and move into the next one. It was a women's strawweight bout between Yasmin Jauregui and Ketlin Souza. I mean, oh man. Not only did I bet on Yasmin Jauregui, but we recently did this kind of experimental UFC fantasy draft that I came up with the concept for, and I think she was like my third pick. It's tough. It's tough out here, guys. We're going off the DraftKings scoring metrics, so 35 total strikes, 35 significant strikes. We're talking about multiplying those numbers by like 0.2 and 0.02. It's not a lot of points. And then she got knocked out by someone who landed a pretty decent amount less strikes than her, like 21 to 35 on total strikes landed. Ketlin Souza just seemed really strong. And the way that she caught her was just nice. And then after that, she just locked up the submission. As Foghorn Leghorn would say, from the Looney Tunes, it was the best of times. I say it was the worst of times. Because, it looked great as a guy who loves mixed martial arts. But it looked terrible. And who bet on Jauregui. But I digress. We're not here to talk about the bets right now. We're here to talk about the fights right now. So it's just a sound submission. Very nice rear naked choke synced up from Ketlin Souza. As soon as she dropped Yasmin, it was bad news bears, right? Nano, curious to hear your thoughts on this fight. Did anything really shock you? I feel like we were both on Jauregui, right?
Yeah, we were. Again, I think stylistically, I thought her strikes were going to be able to take her to a victory. And again, I think the Mexican support was certainly looking at it with rosy colored glasses here, but that's not the case, right? I think in all actuality, Ketlin Souza is a dog, and she went out there like a pit bull dog. I say that specifically because that was the comment that was made for my sister-in-law. She said, "Whoa, this girl looks strong. She looks like a pit bull." I said, "Yeah, she does. She's strong." Down to get the friction on, and yeah, as soon as she landed that punch, it was perfect timing, perfect execution. Slipped her head underneath the combination, moving forward, landed flush, and then got her out of there, right? And then put her to sleep, which you don't necessarily see too often. It was sad to watch, unfortunately. To see her go out like that completely was rough. But sky's the limit for this really, really tough, talented Brazilian contender. Don't have a name top of mind, but I do think she's ready for potentially top 25, maybe even a ranked opponent. That was a big statement that was made from her. Got the 50K. But yeah, I think she's ready for another big step, brother. I don't know if you have any names top of mind.
When it comes to Ketlin Souza, as you said, she is an absolute beast. Again, somebody that's sitting currently at number 18 when it comes to Tapology's overall rankings of the strawweight division for women, right above Yasmin Jauregui. I mean, there's a number of people that really make sense for her. I honestly would like to see her fight somebody like a Jacqueline Amarim, who is coming off of a nice big win as well, albeit a little bit of a cheater's win. It is what it is. But I digress. I think that would be a really fun fight for her. If not that fight, maybe I think the other name that I had written down was the loser of Denise Gomes versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Both of those women are ranking above her. I think those would both be a really, really solid test for her. And I like Karolina Kowalkiewicz in that fight. So again, Denise Gomes versus Katlyn Salza would be a really fun fight, in my opinion.
I like it, brother. I like it.
Yeah, man. I was like, wait, let me go through her record real quick and make sure they haven't already fought. They haven't fought. So, moving into the next fight, we have... Oh, it's another sad story for me when it comes to this damn fantasy draft. I was trying to get some, because the whole goal is to get someone who fights before December 31st, and I really thought Manuel Torres was going to get it done, but I digress. A lightweight belt between Manuel Torres and Ignacio Bahamondes. What a fun fight for as long as it lasted. Nano, do you want to go ahead and take the lead on this one, my guy?
I got you, my brother. I got you. Yeah, Ignacio coming in here, the dream killer, another angry contender who didn't want these Mexican fighters to have any more of the show than they already had outside of the exterior and everything leading in. Ignacio Bahamondes, an absolute stud, a tall, interesting character here in the lightweight division, a new guy that's up and coming. He's been training with Bilal, remember the name, the champ Muhammad. I don't know how that slipped underneath our noses. We probably should have factored that in. And if he's training and he's been in the camp with the Bilal, remember the name, aka the champ Muhammad, I mean, that says a lot, right? That says that he's doing all the right things. He's probably heading the right direction. So that's someone that we're going to be keeping our eye on. And I think he is another one, again, itching closer to a top 25, potentially a top 15 contender now. That was a huge win, a huge statement. This lightweight division is full of wolves, full of lions. He's gonna have to earn some more stripes, in my opinion, before I see him, get that shot. Unfortunately, but man, was this a huge statement? Great highlight reel finish, moving backwards like that, incredible. I'll let you break it down a little bit further and see if there's anyone that's on top of mind for you. But man, that was a huge statement, big finish, and a big dude here in the lightweight division. Another guy we're gonna be talking about, I'm sure. Ignacio, remember the name.
Ignacio. I thought he did absolutely incredible, man. Look, like you said, it was a nasty counter. He literally was stepping back, and the counter right just connected. Sometimes that's all it takes, man, is that one. But I digress, my friend. I digress. I really thought Manuel Torres was gonna get it done, man. I really did. So let me break it down from a statistical standpoint here. Ignacio Bahamondes really, really came out there. Not only landed more volume, but he also landed at a higher clip, right? A higher clip meaning higher accuracy point. So 36 of 63 strikes actual in totality, right? And 31 of those 36 were considered significant strikes. When it comes to his opponent, Manuel Torres, 20 total strikes landed of 43. By the way, 20 total strikes landed of 43, also his significant strikes numbers. So everything he was throwing with dangerous intent. He was trying to hurt the young man. Ignacio Bahamondes, however, was settling in, was really just kind of hanging out in the pocket and waiting for his opponent to throw and really kind of measuring, poking, prodding, moving his head around, and just really making the reads. That way he could step back and land that counter shot. So ultimately, the biggest kind of weapon of Manuel Torres became his biggest issue, his biggest hole in his game. And that was being overly aggressive and leaving himself open as a result. I always say, like in sales, right? If you get somebody who just doesn't give you the time of day, doesn't talk to you, hangs up on you if you're doing cold calls, that's the tough ones to crack, right? But if you have someone who picks up and yells at you, you have someone who's upset on a video chat with you, you have someone who's willing to talk to you, no matter what they're saying, if they're saying something angry, happy, anything in between, they're giving you something. It's kind of like a fighter throwing something at you. And if they're throwing something at you, even if it's constant, if I'm here, I'm open here. I'm open here. There's so many different openings that you can see. And even more so if I'm not doing it fluidly, if I'm like, how many openings do I have here? You can come up with an uppercut right there. That sucks. I'm done, right? Boom. You can come over the top, come around. Like, there's so many different things you could do. Talk about knees to the fucking belly. Hate to see it, kids. And here's the thing. Somebody like a Ignacio Bahamondes, you know he's probably going to be able to pull those types of things off, right? So you got to be careful. You got to be smart. And more than anything, you've really got to be mindful of the weapons of your opponent at the end of the day. And I truly don't think that Manuel Torres was respecting the weapons that his opponent had to bring to the table. So that's why he ultimately ended up losing. Nano, do you have a name on the tip of your tongue for Ignacio Bahamondes, or are you just kind of excited to see what's next for the young man?
I'm excited to see what's next. I mean, I don't necessarily see him off the top. Oh, I guess he's ranked at 31 here on Tapology. You know, someone that did stand out, and I don't see a fight booked for him. 4-fight win streak. Another young guy that can pose some challenges. I'm talking about Nasrat Haqparast potentially. That's one that stood out to me, my brother. But anyone sticking out to you?
So for me, I would personally like to see him fight somebody closer to the range of like a Guram Kudrladze, who's coming off of that decision win over Jordan Vucinic, aka what is it? The Georgian Viking. What a fucking nickname. And appropriate coming off the UFC Noche card, being headlined by the true Georgian Viking, Merab Dvalishvili. Shout out. You know what I'm talking about? Hit the air horns for that guy. But yeah, I think Guram Kudrladze would be a really, really fun fight for him. He also just fought in August on the 3rd. So I think trajectory-wise, as far as like those guys both having kind of, fights at this recent timing, I think it would line up trajectory-wise. Fun fight, either way. I'm also still excited to see the next thing for Manuel Torres. I think he is young. He has a lot to learn, and I'm looking forward to seeing him learn it. Okay. But man, that was a tough one because again, I drafted Manuel Torres in our fantasy draft, and that was a tough night at the office for me.
Oh man, yeah, it happens, brother. Hopefully they'll get back on the pedal here sooner than later.
I was gonna say the good news and the bad news is neither of those two fighters scored me like any points really, and it was back to back, which was just like it's fucking tough, kid. It was tough to watch. And then both in the first round, like it's sad. But the good news is me being, optimist prime, I'm gonna throw it out there. They both lost in the first round. Not a lot of damage taken. Maybe they both pick up quick turnarounds, and then I get that secondary set of points before December. We'll see. I don't know.
Rooting for you.
I appreciate you, brother. It was a bad night at the office, man. Speaking of bad nights at the office, moving into the preliminary headliner, we had the women's bantamweight belt between Irene Aldana and Norma Dumont, aka Big Norm, as they call her on the Anik Florian podcast. I really thought that Irene Aldana's boxing was going to prove to be a problem for Norma Dumont. I thought that Norma Dumont's wrestling was going to possibly prove to be a problem for Irene Aldana. Crazy thing. Irene Aldana landed half as many strikes as Norma Dumont, and Norma Dumont went 0 for 5 on takedowns. What I didn't think was going to be a problem was a clash of heads that would show us the worst cut I've ever seen in the entirety of my history of watching the UFC. And I'm going to go ahead and show that now. I'm just kidding. You think I'm fucking crazy? I'm not going to show that. It's disgusting, dude. Like, I would, like, I'm not trying to make you guys all nauseous. I'm not trying to make you guys, like, come on. If you want to see it,
fatality,
do it on your own, okay? It looks like something out of a Mortal Kombat game, genuinely. Seeing the doctor, like, split it all open and stuff. Not fun. I love this woman. I think she's fantastic. I actually ran into her in line at Secret Pizza in June when we went to International Fight Week. Shout out to the folks, the homies. But man, that was a tough one. That was a tough one to see. But Norma Dumont looked great out there, even other than an unintentional clash of heads. I mean, 159 strikes to 69, mind you. It's not just that she landed more strikes; she threw significantly more strikes. 183 strikes were thrown by Irene Aldana. 309 strikes were thrown by Norma Dumont. To put that into perspective, folks, that is over 102 strikes per 5 minutes. Like, if you don't understand how ridiculous that is, stand the fuck up. Get in the corner of the room. Don't turn the podcast off. Please keep listening. And just try and throw 100 strikes in 5 minutes. Set a 5-minute timer and just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then take 30 seconds off. And then do it again twice. Ridiculous stuff. And if you're able to do that, honestly, like, give yourself a big pat on the back, folks. Give yourself a big pat on the backs. And then shut the fuck up because no one's punching you back. Like, that's the big thing here, right? Like, she landed that many strikes while somebody was trying to hit her this entire time. Somebody threw 183 strikes back at her. And she made him land less than 70. Incredible stuff, man. Norma Dumont proves to be just a phenom in the bantamweight division, and I personally can't wait to see what's next for her. I truly hope Irene Aldana has a quick recovery and a full recovery for her face because it's tough and it genuinely looks like a scar that's going to last a very long time. But man, we are thankful for these warriors that go out there and put it all on the line for us. Man, just tip of the cap. A round of applause for Irene Aldana for going the distance with that. Man. So, moving into your breakdown. Nano, what's your thoughts on that?
My man. Yeah, excellent breakdown, my brother. I think my additional 2 cents are that, yeah, Norma Dumont went out there and, Big Norm, although the name would suggest that maybe she's large and sluggish. No, that is not the case. She was very, very light on her feet. She was moving around a lot, which I think surprised me, and maybe it surprised her opponent as well when it comes to the stance switches, her ability to mix up all the different strikes in the arsenal. And yeah, she made it a striker's delight. I mean, all those punches that were thrown, I mean, it was nothing but nonstop action. She did cut our girl Irene with I think an elbow across the brim of the nose at one point, and then the head clash. I think she cut her on the side of that same eye as well. I mean, by the end of it, Irene was, man, looking like she was in a gladiator war out there for sure. So all credit goes to her opponent, Norma. She's a beast. Earned my respect. Sitting there at the 5 spot now. Moved up 3 spots in the rankings. And there's really only one girl sitting there at the 4 spot, coming off a win, back in June of this year. I think she could go in, if she could potentially beat. This is a title eliminator, right? This is a title contender eliminator. The winner of this goes out and wins whoever wins between Raquel and I believe she's fighting Julia, if I'm not mistaken. here in October. So pretty soon we'll have all of those puzzle pieces laid out for us before then. But yeah, the name that I'm looking at here for Norma Dumont next is a Macy Chazon. Send that 4. I think it's a really good matchup there. Makes sense. And that'd be a really fun fight. 2 strong girls with tattoos. Excited to see what happens. I'd probably lean Macy to start off, but Norma's a stud. And she's strong. So that's a good one.
Man, as much as I like Macy, I really like Macy Chasson. I almost think I would lean towards Norma Dumont.
I don't know. Maybe it's recency bias, but Macy did look good against, who was her last opponent? Silva. I forget, is it Karine or it was Mayra Bueno Silva. She beat that was a gritty matchup. There was some controversy, but she was beating her right outside of the cut and the stoppage. I mean, she beat her. So I think she has another statement that needs to be made. Maybe it sounds like, brother, but I'm leaning to make sure it's on.
To the guy in the Twitter chat, I'm gonna type it out. Yes, you are wrong. LOL. He, for whatever reasons, thinks that I was the guy that was crying on Sean's podcast. No, I posted a video that I clipped together of that guy crying on Sugar Sean's podcast, which we will definitely go over later. No, I'm not that guy. No, not even close. Oh man, that's sorry. That's funny.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. He said he's drunk. That's okay. Then that tracks. Well, I mean, I'll do a shot. I'll do a shot to that. I'll do a shot with you. I mean, it's UFC Noche. We'll pour up a shot of tequila, man. Why not? Oh man. Yeah, you definitely have the beer goggles on. I mean, I'm a white guy and I'm wearing glasses. It's not even the same kind of glasses. I don't even think that guy had facial hair. If I was that guy and I grew facial hair overnight, I mean, fuck. Good on me. But hey, cheers to you, bud. Cheers to you, man.
Cheers.
And Daryl Clark said, Aldana is a warrior for continuing to fight with that cut. You're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. Oh, man. Let's fucking go, Tommy. Let's go,
Tougher
Tommy.
Than me.
I appreciate the sub.
Yeah, there we go. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming by. Yeah, and it's one of those things, too. I mean, you're watching her, and like as soon as it got cut, it's leaking like crazy.
In her eye,
swiping
too.
At her face. Yeah, you know she's going through it. That was my whole thought.
Had to be obstructing her vision, and that's when they're supposed to actually have a doctor come in and look at those types of things, right? And I mean, that was honestly what was the craziest part of that, or craziest aspect of that whole situation to me, is the fact that they did not at any point have a doctor come in and check that cut. You're talking about arguably the worst cut I've ever seen in my entire life as far as watching fights goes. And you're not going to have someone come in and check the cut? What are you talking about here, guys?
Yeah, it was leaking like crazy. I think it was worth a cut stoppage, or at least like a cut cleanup or something. That was worth
something.
Stopping
at
the fight
least
for.
To come in and check on it, right? Like, I don't know. I felt bad for Aldana. But yeah, man, I'm with it. I like the names, or rather the name that you gave. Look, the bantamweight division for women it's an interesting division to say the very least, right? There's not a ton of names necessarily, but at the same time, it feels like there's a ton of names in this division. I wouldn't mind. Yeah, I feel like the loser of the Ketlin Vieira versus Kayla Harrison fight for me.
Ooh, I like that too. Didn't even consider it, but I think that's also a great matchup.
Dude, okay, look, Daryl Clark said, I'm so happy you said that because you just like reminded me. So I was actually hanging out with this guy's cousins watching the fight this weekend. And we saw the cut. I think at one point I looked at him and I was like, you can see her brains. like, dude, you can see inside of her head. It's insane. And like, mind you, like I have a tiny little scar here. And when this happened, like my girl was flipping out. And fun fact, I've trained in martial arts for years. I trained at American Kickboxing Academy. This happened from playing fucking disc golf. We'll never play disc golf with her sister again. Shout out.
Oh, no.
Pretty sure the disc that her sister was using was literally called the Destroyer. Lived up to the name. So, look, man, I just can't even imagine what that, like, seeing that after the fact, even after it's been stitched up and stuff, seeing the doctor split it open in that video. I mean, I just, knowing that that's you, I can't imagine. And yeah, Tommy, you're right. Diaz definitely has had some crazy stoppages, man. But I digress. Moving into the main card, folks, because it was a hell of a main card. I know there was some talk, some shit talk, if I'm being honest, about how there wasn't enough ranked fighters on this card. But if I'm being completely honest, I think we can all fucking agree that we should probably tip our cap to the unranked fighters on this card because they're the ones that truly deliver the most. They are the ones that gave us the edge of our seat experience that we're about to go through when we talk about these next upcoming fights. So, without further ado, we have Ronaldo Rodriguez coming in against Ode Osborne. What a fucking fight, man. You know, if we meet somebody in person, we got to pull for him. We met Ode. He was super fucking dope at International Fight Week this year, and we had to pull for the guy a little bit, right? At the same time, Mr. Ronaldo Rodriguez is an absolute monster of a man. We got to call it the spade here. We got to call it the elephant in the room. Ode Osborne. I'm going to take the lead here. Sorry, Dino. I'm going to take point. You can pick up after. Look, brother. Ode was the better fighter. Make zero mistake about it. He was faster. He was stronger. And he was fucking ready, bro. But after he dropped his opponent, it's like the game plan disappeared. It's like the fact that he had the speed advantage might as well fucking out the window, just disappeared. Because he dove on top and he started really trying to work some of these different things in that I personally, I mean, like, I get it. I understand. Like, you're excited. You're really, really trying to get these finishes. But you dropped Rodriguez early and then you pull for a triangle? You give up top position for the sub versus making Rodriguez stand up and get fucking knocked out? You've got him hurt. You've got him rocked. You've got him on shaky legs. He literally fell to the ground. Stand up and say, come to me. And then crack him again. Work him, like just like he was before. Every single person was saying that he was the faster guy. So I mean, after dropping him, pulling the triangle, letting him get top position was just not the move, right? And then going for the sub again early in the second round, and then Rodriguez reversing it on him and getting solid ground and pound, but not only getting solid ground and pound on him, but getting that body triangle from the top, mounted body triangle. Disgusting work. Disgusting work to witness. And again, if it's me and this has happened to me across the last 2 rounds, I am not in a fucking 1,000 years going to try and take you down again. If you lift your leg and say, take me down, bro, here it is, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to punch you in the face because that's what's working for me. I dropped you in the first round. And then when I tried to get on top of you or tried to submit you, it didn't work. It drove me nuts, man. When a fighter is so good, and it's something as simple as just shot calling and fight IQ, and again, like, he's young in his career, he's still leveling up. That's something that's going to come with time, duration, and just honestly, time in the octagon. And it's a big stage. One of the possibly the biggest stages that they've ever hosted. So it's a lot to think about in the moment. I mean, I can't tell you that I wouldn't have been distracted with my fucking ADHD ass. But like, again, calling a spade, bro. Like, no filter. It was just tough to see as far as Ode Osbourne, knowing that he was faster, knowing that he had the physical and skill advantage, in my opinion, and could have taken advantage of Ronaldo Rodriguez at probably the only time he could have in his career, the best time he could have in his career. It sucked to see. But let's go to the chat real quick before I pass it off to you. So we got Daryl Clark again. I think I scored it 2-1 Rodriguez. First round Ode, second round Rodriguez. Third round was close. Slight edge to Rodriguez. I completely agree. And I also agree with this next comment here. 2-1 either way is respectable scorecard. 100% agree with you, Daryl Clark. What up, Drew? How we doing, brother? Just breaking down the main card. Just got started. Yeah, man, I think 2-1 either way is pretty respectable for that fight. And I truly would have given it to Ode in that third round if he hadn't shot for the down and failed. I think that truly cost him the fight. Nano, intrigued to hear your thoughts on this fight and just your overall breakdown. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Daryl Clark's comments there and it being 2-1. I agree with the judging. I had it the same way. I think my only thought in trying to figure out the ultimate score is, were they considering that first round at 10-8? You know, was that enough for Ode to get the definitive dominance of that round one? I think because it happened so early, and because Ronaldo still was able to make up some ground with his striking, with some of his reversals and just being productive, maybe that was enough to keep it from being a 10-8. So with that in mind, yeah, I think Ronaldo possibly did just enough. But even honestly, in theory, I guess I wouldn't have been mad at it 10-8 because then you could have made it a draw, and I would have been okay with that as well. Typically don't love it, but it was so razor thin. Ki, what's up, brother?
Ki, what up, brother?
Great to have you.
See you in the chat, my guy.
Let us know your thoughts. Everybody, if you're listening here, wherever you're at, let us know your thoughts. Tommy, see you. We're all here in the chat here. Drewski. Let us know emojis. Let us know your reactions. But yeah, I think ultimately it was a good performance. It was a fun fight. And like you mentioned, maybe a little distracting with all the things going on in the sphere behind. We didn't necessarily go too much into that in the intro. But I mean, seeing the figurines flown behind them, the holograms of them, 20, 30 feet tall must have been pretty cool. But yeah, man, I think all to say, I was close. I thought it could. I wouldn't have been mad if Ode won either, to be totally honest with you, because he did hurt him, and I guess it's at the end of the day. Although Ode is maybe the better fighter, Ronaldo was the better grappler and able to win from a points perspective there. Don't have any names top of mind. This flyweight division is absolutely stacked, and I think it's a lot of its timing. Who's healthy. And I don't know this necessarily earned a shot for him to skyrocket up the rankings and, climb the ladder too far up. I think it might need another person in this range, maybe another step up. I don't know if you have any thoughts, bro, but I'm feeling, I like this. I definitely like to see him back in there. I mean, he was talking a lot of crap, which I don't think I necessarily love because my friends that can translate it and family, they mentioned it was pretty vulgar. They got a little aggressive there. So I don't know about all that, but turns on the televisions. People are going to tune in for it. But do you have any names top of mind, or do you think maybe we don't reward them too much here?
Well, good old lazy boy Ronaldo Rodriguez is currently sitting at number 24, which is directly under Matthew Danger Snell, who, of course, laid the gloves down in the middle of the octagon and then walked out without even giving an exit speech. Look, I think if you don't necessarily want to reward Josh Van with a crazy step up in competition and give him someone that's now top 15 ranked, considering he's, right outside of the top 20. Yeah, he's actually number 20 now on Tapology. So Joshua Van sitting at number 20. I don't hate that matchup. I think Josh Van versus him is nice. If Josh Van does get what he asked for and gets matched up against him, I think you give him Rafael Pastor Fialho. A little bit of Mexico versus Brazil. I think that'd be a really, really fun matchup. And I also think that'd be a nice stylistic matchup for him. Let's jump in the chat real quick. Daryl Clark says, glad they were able to deliver a great fight after their beef. Complete opposite of the Cop Makayev situation. I didn't even read that before I put it up on the screen. You are so right, though. I hate seeing them talk shit and then just not really go out there and do anything, man. Like Jorge Masvidal, Colby Covington. Dude's going to run up there on him at a bar, but he's not going to fight him when he's got 25 minutes in a cage. Interesting stuff. What's up, Parker Morrell? Howdy. He says howdy, y'all. Or he or she says howdy, y'all.
Parker.
And howdy right back. What up, Parker?
What's up, my brother? Great to see you again, man. Got to see him this weekend. Let's go, baby. Always a good time. Always a good vibe. Always smiling. Love to see you, brother. Let us know your thoughts on the card. Share us in the Discord. Let them know as well, man. We're always here looking for new eyeballs and always looking for people to come on as well, man. You know, you could be in the comments, but you could be on a guest show as well. You know, we're always welcoming you. But good to see you, Paka.
We're out here looking for new guests. Like,
where are you?
You already know. And with that being said, we are actually about to move into arguably the best fight of the year. I don't even think it's going to be a contest for the most part. We got Daniel Zellhuber versus Esteban Ribovics in the lightweight division. Oh, man, as much as I want to take point on this one. Nano, let's hear your thoughts, my guy.
Chee wee wees. I mean, that was absolutely bonkers. Pillar to post. Woo! My guy. And to get on the same train as you and to make sure, you know, you don't feel as bad, brother. I know we were talking about our fantasy draft that we did, and, you know, DraftKings may not have treated you kindly with some of your fighters you chose. Well, Daniel Zellhuber was the horse I chose as well. And, you know, did not get the win, did not get a finish. Put up a lot of strikes, you know, was able to land 121 total strikes. Apparently they all were significant. But, man, this was, again, an absolute bloodbath, a barn burner. Two guys that were going out there and button mashing when it comes to just, to use a video game reference, when it comes to just what they're out there doing. It was fun, man. I think my big takeaway was Esteban Ribovic's power. I mean, this guy was walking Daniel Zellhuber down. He was not, like, fading at all from everything Daniel was throwing at him. It was technical. I thought Daniel was doing a really good job of using his length, kind of putting his hand on Esteban's head to kind of keep him at distance, use that jab, established it early, which you love to see, especially as a boxer. But, man, it boiled down to power and grit, and Esteban had a little bit more. You know, Daniel, frankly, I think just for the sake of his career, you know, you don't want to always have those types of fights where you're just taking shot after shot after shot. I think it could have been called when he was stumbling and fumbling and literally running away from his opponent. I think once you start turning your back and things like that, maybe you let your opponent come in and land another few combinations. And I think if I was Esteban, part of me was thinking, maybe you should have laid it on a little bit thicker after that. But he didn't want to gas out. And I think he also realized, I'm hitting this dude with everything but the kitchen sink, and he's not going away. And I don't think the ref has any interest in stopping this fight at this point, because otherwise he would have by then. So I think he played it smart and safe. But tough seeing, especially a guy you're rooting for, another Mexican fighter again, someone that was well coached and coach with Coach Eric Nixick. But, man, good learning lesson, I think, will be coming from this for our boy Daniel Zellhuber. Sky's the limit for the kid. But, man, I think we should also be giving our boy Daniel Zellhuber his flowers as well. Esteban his flowers also, and saying that, man, I think he deserves certainly a step up. I mean, that was huge. Huge. But I don't know who makes sense at this point. He's on a 3-fight win streak, ranked 36th at this stage. I mean, man, there is an Ignacio Bahamondes in at 31. Both guys coming off victories. I know you like him fighting the Georgian Viking, but there's him. There's an Ishmael Bonfim, someone that I'm a really, really big fan of as well. I mean, Jared Flash Gordon. I mean, the list goes on, right? I don't know if I want to get too high now, but Esteban, along with Ignacio, these two Latin contenders, man, threw their names in the hat or in the sombrero And hey, however it shakes up, man, I'll be excited. I'll be tuned in. I'll tell you that much. What do you think, brother?
Man. I mean, I'll tell you a couple things that I think. I mean, first and foremost, this was just an incredible fight. This was arguably the best fight I've seen. I'll have to go back and, I mean, I'd like to say I'll have to go back and rewatch it, but I've already watched it 3 times, if I'm being completely honest with you. And after watching it 3 times, like I truly think this might be one of the best fights I've seen in my entire life as far as mixed martial arts goes. Just the back and forth, the ebbs and flows. I'm happy that Jason Herzog, shout out to Jason Herzog, gonna do a air horn for that young man, and just a full-on round of applause. Full-on shout out to Jason Herzog, arguably one of the best referees in all of mixed martial arts. Dude is an absolute stud when it comes to this. So happy he didn't stop the fight. He gave these people a chance to fight. And when I say these people, of course, you know what I'm talking about here, folks. I'm talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Daniel Zellhuber. The man was just an absolute beast. But look, if I'm walking out against someone, I don't care if he's 30 times better than me. If I'm walking out and Dustin Poirier praises me, I'm probably going to murder that young man inside of that octagon. Okay? I'm possessed. I'm going to do bad things. I'm going to defy all the odds. So, as someone who picked Zellhuber, as someone who bet a fucking shot on Zellhuber, which I'm about to pour up, as soon as I saw this man coming out to fucking Roy Jones Jr.'s Can't Be Touched, and then I see the camera pan to Roy Jones Jr. in the fucking crowd singing along, I literally looked at Jake and I'm like,
fatality.
Because I just knew it wasn't going to be great for me. And it wasn't going to be great for you who picked him on fantasy.
Yeah, that was a sign of it's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long 15 minutes.
When he came out to that song instantaneously, I'm like, boys, Zellhuber, I liked you in the embedded episodes. I liked you in everything. But I hope you packed a lunch because it's going to be a day. And it was a day. But I digress as I pour up my shot. Here's the thing. There is a such thing as the judges getting it wrong. Now, I'm not saying that that's the situation here, but I do have a poll going up on the YouTube right now. If you're watching on Twitter, if you don't mind just hopping over to the YouTube real quick, feel free to smash that subscribe button, smash the bell for notifications, all that good stuff. It helps with the algorithm, you know? And just vote on the poll and let us know who you think should have won this fight. We have a live YouTube poll going right now. Just curious to see the fans' thoughts on this, because I personally think that in this fight of fights, Zellhuber is the only fighter that actually got an official knockdown. Almost finished the fight in, I believe, the first round. And then Esteban Ribovic obviously outlanded him in the third round, right? I think he definitely won the third round, but I thought Zellhuber actually did enough to win the first 2 rounds. So in my humble opinion, I really thought that Ribovic needed a finish to win that fight in the third round, as close as it was. And again, I'm going to scroll up here to Daryl Clark and reference a comment that he made earlier about a different fight, not trying to quote anybody out of context, but at the same time, if it fucking applies, it applies. 2-1 either way is a respectable scorecard. I am not yelling robbery. That's not what we fucking do here, unless it actually is a robbery. And then we will yell robbery all fucking day, probably for like an hour and a half or less. But I digress. This wasn't one of those, but personally, I thought Zellhuber did just enough to win this one. I thought it was razor thin. And I mean, that's what makes fights our favorite fights, right? It's not when it's one-sided fucking just
fatality.
That's not when it's fucking like great. It's really the Christmas bells start ringing whenever we get something that's a little bit back and forth, something that's greatly competitive, something where, you know, when we go back and we watch it again and again and again, we think about how fucking great the matchmakers like Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard are at their jobs. We think, man, they knocked it out of the park with this one. This fight is one they knocked it out of the park with. Ribovic said in Embedded that he thinks he should have gotten him at a later part in his career, but he got him now. And so he has to deal with that. And he still got the W. I think he got him at the perfect time. So, I mean, I thought this was just a beautiful, beautiful fight for him. And the name that I have next on the tip of my tongue is, if I'm being completely honest with you, it is going to be the loser of Matt Frivola versus Faraz Zayam. That's who I think he should fight.
Ooh, I like it.
Either way, it's got banger written all over it.
It does, man. Well said. And yeah, I think that's the right level of competition. I think that is next for our boy after that performance over Giselle Huber. And another way you could validate it is that's probably who Daniel would be fighting next as well. You know, he was on that hype train. And when you knock off the hype train, you're now on those tracks. You get that you get that benefit. You get that advantage. So I think you get that level up and you get that call from Dana and Brash and you sign the check, baby. You sign the dotted line and you get back out there as soon as you can, man. I'd love to see it. You're in the fan and your boy.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was just a fantastic fight. So moving into the next one, we had a featherweight bout between Brian Ortega and Diego Lopez. A little bit of a back and forth. And by back and forth, I mean they were scheduled to fight when we were in Vegas waiting to watch them fight. And I remember we saw a tweet that said, Brian Ortega pulled out of the fight. And we're like, shut the fuck up. That's not real. And it was. It was actually real. It was real. And of course, we were like, what? And then they were like, by the way, Dan Ige was drinking beers and barbecuing at home, and he's actually weighing in right now to fight Diego Lopez instead. And we're like, so just wild stuff. And we, of course, thought that was fake news, fakenews.com, but it was real. It was realnews.com. And of course, Dan 50K Ige, just an absolute stud for coming off the couch literally on a Saturday and fighting in the middle of a fucking UFC pay-per-view in the middle of International Fight Week. And even more props to Diego Lopez for signing the dotted line to fight at 145, agreeing to move it to 155, and then fighting even higher than that to fight Dan 50K Ige on short notice. Now, this fight finally happened on Saturday night, and I don't think it could have gone better for fans of Diego Lopez. So, Nano, I'm going to let you take the lead on this one since I blazed through that last one. What were your thoughts on this one, brother?
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, I think
As I do my own shot for the last one, obviously.
There you go. I mean, the reality is, man, I think it was what we thought was going to happen. Diego Lopez is who we thought he is. He is every bit of good and every bit of a potential champ as the UFC and as we all potentially believe he could be. Cheers to that, brother. And like Daryl Clark said, man, I mean, what more sample of approval do we need than our boy DC letting us know that I'm right. Lopez is a real deal. I mean, he's a legitimate contender. And Brian Ortega, like Daryl also mentioned, man, I mean, his best ability is his durability, right? His willingness to stay in there, his chin, which did get tested and I think potentially got shut off, maybe like a quick reboot or reset. You know, it wasn't a full shutting off of the server, but it definitely was a hard reboot there that happened when Diego landed flush. But that's what he does, man. That's what he absolutely does. He's a beast. He's strong, and he's talented in all areas, right? Even when he went to the ground, Diego was still able to do what he needed to do. And the way he fights is how violent he is. You're seeing all these things about his aura, as the new kids are saying, but just the moxie, just the vibe, right? I mean, obviously it's the hair, and we joke around a lot with the Blink 182, but the reality is, man, I mean, he's a tough son of a gun. He's talented, and he's getting better every single time we see him go out there. I mean, we should have known when he went out on short notice and put up a tough matchup against Movsar Evloev. That's his only blemish in the UFC, and it's been nothing but just excitement. It's been nothing but hype, and he's been answering the bell every single time. Like Tommy mentioned here, he trains with Sean as well. Of course he is. Lopez was training with Alexa Grasso. He's training with the Mexicanos out there. I mean, those are tough people, man. Those are hard workers. It's a gritty place to go out and grow up as a 19-year-old being Diego. So he's embraced it, man. He's embraced it, and yeah, I'll always be a fan of T-City. He's someone that just seems like a cool dude, honestly. But from a talent perspective, I think he's getting a little bit passed up. I think he can beat most people, but Diego's a good representation of that new school MMA guy, right? That's good everywhere, has not necessarily an emphasis, right? Like Brian is known to be a grappler, a jiu-jitsu specialist. And, Brian's come a long way from Max Holloway teaching him how to defend combinations live in a fight. So, for that, I'm proud of Brian for continuing to develop his game. But just at this stage, I don't think he's going to be getting any better. And I don't think the motivation was really there for a while. And I think at this point, I don't really know what's next for T-City. I don't really want to play matchmaker there. I think whoever he fights, I'll watch, but I don't know. But what I also don't want is I don't want to see him continuing to fight these Diego Lopez's, these dudes that are just on a crash course to the title. Like, I don't want him to turn into that gatekeeper. I don't want to see Brian lose another 4 or 5 fights, turn into this Tony Ferguson narrative. Like, just get out while you can. I mean, and I'm not gonna die on that hill either. Again, I'll happily watch him fight again. Heck, maybe he goes up weight class. He's been having issues with weight. Maybe just find a fun matchup. That makes sense. But that's where I'll leave it with T-City. Now, our boy Diego Lopez now. It's only so many names once you get up to the top. I don't know. I don't really have I guess I kind of do. I mean, there's only so many people, right? I mean, feels like the obvious choice has to be man, do I even say it? Is it Volk? Is it a number 1 contender fight? Do we put Volk in there against our boy Diego Lopez headlining? Is that too crazy? Am I being crazy right now? What do you think, Bubba? Talk me off the ledge.
Well, Volk's down for it. Volk is game for that. First things first, before I even go into my matchmaking here, I got to talk about the fight a little bit. I got to talk about the fight. Before I talk about the fight, though, I got to go to the chat. So, first things first, we have Lopez is the real deal from Daryl Clark. You're goddamn right he is, kid. Tommy Hair, yeah. He trains with Sean. Of course he is. And then he said, what's the tattoo on your right shoulder? Right shoulder is, I got this when I was 17 years old. It's a very, I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but it's a very old tattoo. Superman symbol on fire. And then the left one is bloody and beaten and bruised Captain America shield from Captain America, The Fallen Sun, issue number 3, the, I think, second print variant. I really, really loved that issue, and I put it into a tattoo artist on my 18th birthday and told him I really wanted that because I love watching Captain America. Or I loved reading Captain America. Is that the Captain America shield, like the background? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And then Daryl Clark says, I don't think it'd be good for Ortega if he moves to 155. His next fight could maybe be against Arnold Allen or Lerone Murphy. All right, Daryl Clark, get out of the fucking, get out. You're taking my job. You're taking my job here. No, those are great names, and I may or may not have at least one of those written down. So, I'm gonna go ahead and move in here. First things first. I'm closing the poll because obviously no one agreed with me about that last fight. Esteban Ribovic, you get your flowers. I stand on a fucking mountain of wrongness, and everybody else is right. You got the win, fair and square. There was no Mexican, Mexican bias would have been Zaluba, right? Were they both Mexican? Am I crazy here?
Esteban is Argentinian.
Oh my goodness. I know that.
Anomaly.
I know that. Oh man. So okay. I went through the trouble of teeing up this joke, so I gotta at least fucking deliver it here. Okay, look, we all saw the fight. We all know what happened. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that I think Diego Lopez maybe did himself a disservice by landing a follow-up shot. Sometimes when you land a shot, you just let someone be knocked out. So when Ortega was coming in, Lopez landed this like overhand, like right. It was nice. He just clobbered on him, right? And as soon as he connected, Brian Ortega went to sleep, just shut down the computer. But I mean, as I think it was Ryan Cabrera said in the early 2000s, on the way down, he caught him with another fucking clip. And just woke him the fuck up. Thanks, Tommy! Hell yeah, he did! He woke him up! Let's fucking go. You're a great new sub. Love to have you. Dude, he woke him up. I'll do it again. A little louder for those in the back. Look, that's the thing, man. Sometimes you got to let him go to sleep. And also, I truly think that, again, going back to the previous fight I broke down, if he would have just been like, and even if he's awake and he lands and the ref lets him recover, you take a step back and you say, okay, stand up because I'm better than you on the feet and I will wreck you. Because with all due respect, not only does Diego Lopez look like the guy from Blink-182 that screams,
Where are you?
but he's a fucking rock star when it comes to knockout power and striking. And he also happens to be a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, what, black belt? No, brown belt. I believe brown belt. Either way, if your nickname is fucking Knockout McGee, I'm probably going to double leg the shit out of you. If your nickname is T-City and I rock you in the first 15 seconds, I'm not going to be like, let's play the takedown game. I'm just not going to do it. He almost got triangled. When T-City threw up that first triangle attempt, I was like,
It's time!
I was terrified, bro. I was terrified as a Diego Lopez guy. But thank goodness it just didn't happen, right? What does T-City actually stand for? Triangle City. Triangle City. So what? Triangle City. I felt like Tien Shinhan from fucking Dragon Ball Z. Stands for T-City! Ah! Oh, fuck, dude. I wish I had a Dragon Ball Z soundbite so bad right now. I need to get the cutscene like...
Or just the Vegeta grunt.
Dude, that's like one of my favorite jokes that I think I've come up with is that like every anime has to do the and point out the most obvious thing. That's my dad. That's my son.
Yeah, that means I'm your son. Yeah.
Oh, I fucking love anime though, dude. So
Like zooms into their eyes or like beating.
Tommy, that's what we're here for, bro. We're here to laugh, drink, and I mean, above all else, we're here to educate. No, we're just here to have a good time, man. Hell yeah, we are. So look, man, this was a very, very great fight. If you are a Diego Lopez fan, again, he almost landed 2-1 on the strikes. There were 69 to 113, 63 to 106 when it comes to significant strikes. Oh, and by the way, the guy whose nickname is T-City did go 0 for 2 on takedowns, while Diego fucking
Where are you?
Lopez ended up just getting it done with the 1 of 1 takedowns, right? So you love to see it. The hair looked great. The striking looked even better. And honestly, I truly think that this guy is an absolute beast. Now, I think, and Tommy, please correct me on that Twitter chat, my guy, if I'm wrong here. Wrong one. When you put no in all caps, I say all caps like you typed out like 32 letters, 2-letter all caps. When you type no in all caps, that was a better iteration of it. I'm pretty sure you were referring to Nano saying, should he fight Alexander Volkanovski next?
Believe so. I remember seeing the no as I was talking, thinking, okay, well, you know what, Tommy? We can agree to disagree. I'm saying hell yeah to that, okay? You may say hell no, I'm saying hell yeah.
I love it, dude. I fucking love it, dude. This is the most 90s podcast you'll ever listen to. So, I mean, realistically, I think Mr. Harry was actually saying,
Come on, don't be crazy.
because we're talking about a guy that was number 12 before yesterday. He's saying let Volk retire. I mean, at the same time, as I just said to my consigliere, Nano, Jeff Turkey.
Come on, don't be crazy.
Tommy Harrier. Because, I mean, Volk wants to fight, bro. He said himself that he's got a little bit of a hairline trigger and he needs to fight. So we should probably let him fight. I'm not saying I think there will ever be like a Chris Benoit situation with the guy, but I also think that like it's good for his sanity to let the guy fight right now. He's still got some years in the tank, so let him have some fun. Let him enjoy this fight life. And I'll be goddamn if I think he could still be a contender. Now, I'll go over this when we talk about this Max Holloway fight, but if I'm being completely honest, to put it into a like very quick nutshell, I think Ilia Topuria, Max Holloway, and Alexander Volkanovski might be a good old-fashioned game of rock, paper, scissors. So I think Ilia Topuria beats Alexander Volkanovski. Alexander Volkanovski beats Max Holloway. And Max Holloway beats Ilia Topuria in a nonstop game of rock, paper, scissors. So Volk could have a chance for the title again. It could just be a weird one against Max, and that would suck. I don't want it. You don't want it, but it could very well happen. I'm here to paint it as it could actually happen here, folks. Thanks. Thanks, Tommy. Yep. 100%. Let's go. So look, we're going to go ahead and get right on into it. What do we think should be next for this young man? Nano, it sounds like you're pretty gung-ho, ready to go on the Alexander Volkanovski fight next, yeah?
Man, I think it makes sense. I mean, at this point, the hype train has left the station, and it's hard to make a case against it. I mean, you can potentially look down if you're Diego Lopez at 3 now. He did just get 10 spots moved up. You know, there's a lot of guys that are in between there that could potentially make sense. I mean, this doesn't excite me to see a potential rematch here, but maybe both with a full camp, maybe you could allow Diego to get that wrong in a Movsar Evloev, and that could potentially be someone that then goes on to fight a Volk or a Ilya or a Max or whoever is the current champ. I could see it. I'm not as excited about it. I think when it comes to making big fights and challenges that excite a Volkanovski, I think Diego is the man that I think may keep him up at night or may remotivate him to, dig deep again and see what he's got left in the tank, in my opinion.
And I agree with you. From a Volkanovski standpoint, this fight makes sense. It feels more like I don't want to say a tune-up fight because that feels disrespectful to Diego Lopez, but for Volk, it does feel like a tune-up fight, right? So look, for me, I'm going to keep it completely real. I'm going to keep it completely candid. I don't want to see the Volk fight next. What I do want to see is Diego Lopez fighting the loser of Movsar Evloev versus Max Holloway. If Max doesn't retire if he loses, I think that's a fun matchup for both men. If Max goes out there, or sorry, not Max, Aljamain Sterling. Aljamain Sterling goes out there and beats Movsar Evloev. Come on. Movsar Evloev has to fight this guy in a rematch. He fought him on short notice. There's history there. And I do think Aljo wins this fight. against Movsar Evloev. I think he and call me crazy. I think he goes out there and fucking doms him a little bit. So if he does, that's the situation. And if he doesn't, then it's Aljo versus Diego Lopez. But again, this is exactly the tale I'm trying to fucking paint, Tommy. Aljo versus Volk is an idea. That's exactly what I'm saying, is Aljo goes out there and beats Evloev, give him Volk. Winner gets the title shot. It's been enough time for both guys back in that featherweight division to earn that title shot. So I like that. Give Volk a little bit more time to reset the head, clear the cobwebs, get a nice, really long training camp in, and also heal all those ailing injuries, man. Those creeping, recurring things. And then let Aljo flex his muscles at featherweight, see if he really, really belongs there, which candidly I think he does. Like, we both know that he was cutting a lot of weight to get down to bantamweight. So I just think it makes sense. And then Tommy says here, I'm in agreement. Plus, they're both like 37. I feel like trajectory matches up, stars match up. At the same time, it's hard pressed to argue with Nano here because Volk agreed to the matchup already to an extent. So if I call a guy out, he agrees to the matchup. Fucking all aboard, baby. We're fucking going for a ride.
Book it.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I think those will be really, really fun matchups. Got 2 more matches to break down, Mike. And I was wrong. For sure. I did have a little bit of hedge bets on both of these, though. So we'll talk. We'll talk. Now, this Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko fight, we definitely have to talk about. The crazy thing is, if you look at the fight in totality, right? More total strikes were landed. Now, if you look at the fight in significant strikes, less strikes were landed across both women compared to the winner of the main event. So again, and to put it more into perspective for you viewers here and listeners here, in the co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko, Alexa Grasso, these fighters landed 153 and 193 total strikes against each other. So you're looking at well over 300 total strikes. Okay? They landed less than 80 significant strikes combined. Merab Dvalishvili landed more than 80 significant strikes. That's a fun fact.
Yeah, this one was disappointing on many fronts, unfortunately.
Not wrong. John going to retire after Stipe? Absolutely. We'll make a quick segment on that after the main event for sure. Stick around for that. We'll definitely talk. So, Nano, before we jump into that John Jones Stipe stuff, oh, man. I thought Alexa was going to come in here. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, and then I'll pass it to you for this one. I thought Alexa was going to come out here and do the damn thing. I thought that she looked really good in the first match against Valentina, and I thought she looked well enough in the second match. But I digress. She seemed to maybe have been starstruck by the situation of UFC Noche at the Sphere. She didn't seem to ever really find her normal range and her boxing style that she usually does. She seemed to be very flat. Also, Valentina landed 8 of 12 takedowns, which has definitely not been the case in their previous matches. If you look at historical data, Alexa obviously shot her own takedowns in the last fight, went 0 for 2 as well. That's no change here. But she negated her opponent to 4 of 6 of her takedowns. Now, the crazy stat here, Nano, that I actually found very interesting is between this fight and the previous fight, the takedown percentage was 66% for Valentina Shevchenko. The difference is she shot literally twice as many times this fight. So what happens when you keep the same percentage, but you shoot twice as many times? Well, if you're not good at math, I'll tell you, you land twice as many takedowns. So she went from 4 to 8 takedowns. That makes a vast difference in the scoring of the fight. That's why she got the decision. I thought it was a no-brainer for the decision. I have no argument on this one. I thought Valentina did everything she needed to do, other than enough to earn fans. She didn't really go out of her way to get a finish. She just went out of her way to get a dominant win. And for that, Tommy Herriera, I'll pull up a shot for you, my guy. Nano, please kick me off the fucking soapbox and tell me what you thought.
Yeah, man, this was a tough one. This was a tough one. And honestly, not to be too disrespectful here, it was a championship fight. My girl Alexa Grasso was in there. I was hoping to see her do the unthinkable and beat Valentina Shevchenko again. But in all actuality, Valentina is the better fighter. I think, I need to get off my high horse here. The buzz is wore off. The high is gone. The Grasso era is over. And I think, we might have been a little bit of fool's gold here. I think the reality is, Valentina came out, she had one goal in mind, and she was not going to leave anything to chance. I mean, over 15 minutes of control time on the ground. That's a full fight in and of itself, and that was the fight in and of itself. Alexa just didn't have an answer. Valentina was doing great with her entries, with her decisions to take her down. It was early and often. I mean, again, just completely wore her out. It was tough to watch, I'll be honest. I mean, but I do got to give Alexa her flowers. She was throwing up submission attempts on the ground. She was staying active. She frankly did much better than our boy Sean O'Malley did in terms of just trying to defend himself or give himself a fighter's chance on the ground. But the reality was, Valentina is still her. She's the girl. I think it was easy for me to overlook the fact that Valentina was probably winning in their first matchup. However, Alexa was able to get the late finish. Then you fast forward to the second matchup here, and another close one. Some people thought Valentina won. I thought Alexa did enough. I thought they're just both too closely contested champions, but I thought nothing more of that. And then this last matchup really just wiped my palate, man. I had some garlic here, had some ginger after the wasabi, and I'm realizing, you know what? I'm starting to look at it a little different now. I think Valentina really proved that styles make fights, and she chose the right style to win the fight. She wasn't going to go out there and play the risk game anymore. Not going to make any mistakes. And she pitched almost a perfect ball game. 45-50 across the board. It was definitive. It was boring. Again, I'm being facetious there. Valentina's great. Like I said, she didn't win any fans. It was not something that we're sitting here in awe about or that we'll necessarily remember from years to come. But we will remember that Valentina is, but behind Amanda Nunes, one of the best female fighters to ever do it. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I'd love to see some potential superstar matchups. Maybe a Weili Zhang goes up and tries to fight against a Valentina Shevchenko. I'd love to see that. Or maybe she goes up and tries to fight Raquel or Juliana.
I'd love to see that. If we could get Zhang Weili to go up, that would be really nice. She was having a great time at those fights. Can we just do a quick shout out to her fucking feeling the Daniel Zellhuber fight when he was fucking moving his head movement around, fucking dodging shit, bro. She was in the background getting it. She was all...
That's how we watch fights as well, my brother. We're moving with them as if we're right there behind them. She also was freaking out when I ran it.
One of the family members, one of your family members, when I was over there watching the fights, walked up to me because they had the Canelo fight up on the projector and they had the UFC fights up on the TV outside. And I was I walked up to the TV during that fight and I was literally and he's all, I don't know who's winning this fight, but I can tell you who's winning in the yard.
And who's winning this bout?
Shit made me I was fucking dying laughing, bro.
Oh, bro, that's hilarious.
You already know, bro. That's how we watch fights. Yeah. I wish this Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko fight was a little bit more like the Zellhuber versus Ribovic fight, obviously. But I mean, who should be next for these women? It's tough, right? It's tough. But in the women's flyweight division, I think truly the next person for Manon, or sorry, the next person for Valentina, well, spoiler alert. I think it's going to be Manon, right? I know she already has a fight, or sorry, she just won her fight against Erin Blanchfield, and she made Rose Namajunas look very human. I truly think that she's the next person for this fight. Manon Fior, the Beast, is exactly what her nickname claims. She's just that. I think the Beast versus the Bullet would be a fucking fantastic fight. Can the Bullet put down the Beast? Or is the Beast too damn strong? Is it not a silver bullet? Maybe it's a werewolf of a beast. I don't know, but I know the tail of the tape would be fucking fun to watch. And Tommy, where are we from? We are from Octagon side. No, I'm from California, and this guy's from the Big AZ, man.
Originally from Cali, but I reside in Arizona now, so I'm a desert boy.
And
Where you from? Shout it out.
Originally a Louisiana guy, mostly, which is why I'm probably so much of a fucking Dustin Poirier fan and have the Matt Schnell and Dustin Poirier signed cards in the back.
What about you, Tommy? Let us know. Unless you're wanted by the cops, and then don't let us know. Take it offline.
If you're wanted by the cops, that is a fake place. We'll put them off your trail. Oh, man.
What thought they sent?
What thought they sent? So, yeah, I poured up my shot already because I had a shot to do on this one. We'll do it in stride here. And shout out, man. I got the Cobra Kai shot glass. If you watched Cobra Kai, if you watched Karate Kid, shout out to the late actor that played Dutch. This is for you, man.
Shout out.
Fun fact. I always thought that Dutch in the original Karate Kid was super fucking cool. Cheers, man. To you, brother. If you drink alcohol, I hope you did a shot with us. And if you don't, I hope you enjoyed a little bit of water. Either way, we hope you're having a great time. Yeah, dude, the actor that played Dutch in Karate Kid, again, rest in peace. I literally didn't find out until I saw the post about him passing away that he was the son of Steve McQueen. And the reason I had to mention him on the podcast, not only because of Cobra Kai and how that relates to MMA, but I don't know if you know this, but Steve McQueen is one of the only white dudes that was ever trained by Bruce Lee. He was very close friends with Bruce Lee, and there are numerous interviews of Bruce Lee saying, like, that Steve, he had that son of a bitch. Like, he bites his tongue, and he mentions, like, when we would spar, he has that fire in him. There you go. Bullet was a great movie. Let's fucking go, baby. Yeah, so Steve McQueen, dude, yeah. Fantastic actor from the early ages. And his son, equally as great and equally as much addicted to speeding cars. So, yeah, man, moving into the main event of the evening, without further ado, as Bruce Buffer says, better than anybody else.
It's time!
So let's get right on into it, folks. We have Sugar Sean O'Malley coming in against Merab, the Machine, Dvalishvili in the bantamweight division. This was an absolutely incredible fucking fight. And, of course, thank you, Tommy, for responding here. He says he's from South Africa, lived in California for 10 years, now Oregon. Brother, shout the fuck out. That is a diverse portfolio of landscape that you have taken place in.
Absolutely.
Love to see it, man. Do you still have the South African accent? I gotta know, because if so, we definitely would love to have you on the podcast.
and is Dricus du Plessis your favorite UFC fighter? I am curious.
Is Dricus du Plessis your favorite fighter? We need to know. It's not a we want to know. It is a we need to know at this point.
To which he responds, no. So okay.
Which one is it? No, he said no. Who is your... Now we're very curious to know. So, as he types up his favorite fighter here, this new viewer, Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili. No. I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one because again, I do have thoughts.
Yeah, brother. I think this was again another one where my boy that also resides in Arizona. I am a Sugar Show fan, and he just was not able to get it done, man. He was not able to get it done. I think a lot of people are harping on him looking flat and him not showing up, this and that nature, but I don't think that was the case, man. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I truly think, and what I did not expect either was Merab's. We knew the pressure was going to happen. We knew the machine was going to get to work, but I didn't expect the nonstop movement. The movement that he displayed all throughout the fight really gave Sugar trouble. I think it neutralized Sugar's best asset, which is counter-striking. Yeah, Tommy, we all bet on the man. We all bet on... I'm assuming you're talking about Sugar here because, yeah, that was who my money was on. It was back and forth, but a lot of late money came on Merab, and that changed the odds day of. And I think, again, people were just seeing the reality is when you have that wrestling pedigree, when you have that tool in your arsenal, man, it's the Joker card in any card game. Like it's the trump card, it's the +4 and Uno, like
The Ace of Spades.
Yeah, man, it's everything you need it to be. And unfortunately, our boy Sugar just didn't have an answer. I think he could have tried to take a page out of Alexa Grasso's book, and maybe I would have liked to have seen more submission attempts, more heel hooks, or just something to try to threaten Merab down in that range. But I do also think that just more so goes to show that Merab's pressure, once he gets you on the ground, it's also that pressure on top of you that just, it's hard to deal with, man. I mean, Sugar was tired, and I mean, I don't want to say just tired. Obviously, they're fighting in there, but he looked gassed out early, breathing heavy. Tim Welsh is not motivating him towards the end. You're hearing him just tell him, hey, we just got to get through it. 5 more minutes, Joe. We just got to get through it. I'm like, oh, man, this is brutal. It's like, come on, man. You know, you got to get the placebo going. You got to cheer him up. Haven't you seen Leon Edwards' coach? Come on, baby. So I think all that was disappointing, but again, that was because, you know, as much as it's, I'm going to use the football analogy here, and Sugar's the best offense in the league. He's the Kansas City Chiefs. But when you run into a brick house defense, when you have, you know, someone that can shut down your offensive tricks and flashiness, well, what do you have then, right? And I think that was where Sugar was exposed. I love that he took it in stride. He posted pictures or videos of him practicing his wrestling shoots and whatnot in a little singlet and everything. It's like, hey, you know, you gotta know where you're at. He's gonna take some time off. I guess he hurt his hip as well in the fight. But again, I think all to say, like, I know Suge is a pro. He does all the right things. So I know he went in and gave his best effort. That was the best we could have seen. It just was neutralized by someone that's truly, truly built different. I mean, again, I just want to reiterate the movement that he displayed for all 15 minutes, like back, forth, left, right. Sugar was not able to pick up any reads. And then just the machine aspect. We've seen him do that. That's not the surprise. We knew that was going to happen. I think we were just hoping that Sugar was going to be able to hurt him or do something before he got too gassed out, and it just wasn't the case. So over 25 minutes, slowly did the octagon deflate, slowly did my parlay crash, and my ego deflated as well. But I love Merab, man. I mean, it couldn't have happened to a better guy. His reaction, honestly, almost made me want to cry. Like, him yelling and, like, crying and freaking out. Like, I think there is truly nothing better than seeing somebody get the belt for the first time. So that also was really cool. Not to, hate on Merab too much. That was nice to see. And what's next for my boy Sugar? What I think we've always wanted to see. I think we need a striker's delight after that, wrestling kerfuffle. And I think we're going to need to see the Sandman. Off to Never Land. Yeah, enter the Sandman. Corey Sand hanging into the equation. Must see TV. Pay-per-view. put it on the board. And Marab, I mean, hey, the champ could do whatever the champ wants to do, baby. I know he said he'll sign up, but there is an Av that's waiting for him, and I'm talking about a Umar Nurmagomedov. Wrestler versus wrestler, striker versus striker. Let's see what happens. What do you think, brother? Uh-oh.
The elusive double mute. I swear to God, man. It happens to the best of us. Now, what I was trying to say before I realized that I had double muted myself is, with that suggestion, you might as well just take my hand off to Never Land. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, we're ready for the Sandman fight. I think this is definitely the one to go to for Sugar Sean. Let's jump in the chat real quick. He said, Marab is a problem for that division. Let's actually see two wrestlers go at it. Umar might get it. Sean looked way off. Now, before I go through the rest of these, I'm going to keep this one up on the screen. I am going to go ahead and address this. Nano, this might be a good rant to timestamp here. Man, I'm going to tell you why he seemed a little bit off. Before I do that, I do owe you people a shot because I did bet a shot on Sugar Sean. So, cheers. To the man, the myth, the legend, Umar Nurmagomedov, getting it done. I said Umar Nurmagomedov. My goodness.
I was just going to say, am I going to call him out on this?
I'm so focused on this last one. Always call me out, bro. Always call me out.
I was trying to think, I'm like, was he saying to him getting it done, like to, being a champion? I'm like, oh, okay.
No, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. And you can always call me on that. I am never too bold to admit when I make a mistake, my guy. So look, Sean did look way off. Now, I did my shot. Now I'm going to explain why he looked off. And again, it's a bit of a mix up here, right? Like, you've seen the movies, right? Where the guy is like the Casanova of high school, of college, whatever the situation. He's the best. He's the real ladies' man. And then the lady hooks up with him. And she's like, wow, you're really not that good. And he's like, I swear this never happens. So this is exactly what happened in this fight. Okay. And more so, this is what happened after the fight. So the reason I'm saying this is there's the reason. Okay. I'm doing the voice crack on purpose for a dramatic effect here. Sugar Sean, since the fight, has said, no, look, I'm not going to make any excuses for the fight. I had a great camp. I felt great, blah, blah. But he's also kind of said that he had a torn labrum in his hip for the last 10 weeks, which would explain the lack of twitch movement that he usually shows in his kicks, or the lack of effective kicks in general in this fight, or the lack of fucking footwork at all in this fight. I mean, he was moving in there a little bit like, if I had to compare him to another very prolific striker that uses really good footwork, I would say in this fight, he was moving a lot like Ben Askren. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, like, you don't have to laugh at that. You can hit me with the crickets. That's fine. I don't fucking care. But it's a fact. Okay? Like, Sean just simply wasn't moving the way that he should have been moving. So it just was not the normal movement that we see from Sean. He had a torn labrum in his hip. He already has surgery scheduled on it. Facts. Folks, facts. Both are correct terms. He has surgery scheduled for it, folks. These are facts. And he's planning on taking at least 9 months off, possibly 1 year. That tells you the severity of the injury. Now, I personally hate it when fighters do this because now you and me are going to talk for probably the next fucking 6 to 8 weeks, right? Not every day about this. We'll talk every day, but not every day about this. But we will definitely occasionally be talking about, man, how do you think that would have went if Sean was 100%? Do you think it would have been different? Do you think it would have been the same? And that's one of the biggest issues during this whole situation And thank you so much. I know Tommy Harrier on Twitter just started following me tonight, but if you look up my reply tweets, you'll see about probably 8 or 9 hours ago, I think I commented exactly that. So Tommy Harrier on the live stream right now just tweeted, for those of you that are listening, only audio, he tweeted or commented in the Twitter, that could have happened during the fight though. Now, I actually did comment something very, very similar on the exact same thing when it comes to this fight. And that was on the post where he admits that this happened. And let me actually find my exact post so I can read it to you guys, gals, verbatim. So, I said, I believe I mentioned something about the knees being there, obviously. Because I definitely mentioned the fact that it was because of the knees and things like that. One of my tweets is blowing up, so it's very hard to find it at this point. But either way, I know that I mentioned, literally, he got him taken down within the first minute of the fight or so. And then, or I think he had 3 minutes to work once he got him taken down the first time. First shot was very flawless, very fucking clean, very well timed. I mean, when that shot landed, it was like, it's gonna be a tough night, Sean. I hope you're back to lunch, kid. UFC Noche. Salute. Look, I just knew it was going to be bad. So I truly think that happened during the fight. He got him down, and then he started landing ad nauseum the knees to the high leg and / hip. Now, let me tell you, as someone who, like, I don't know how good my mic is or if it does ASMR style shit, but I'm pretty sure if I put it up against it and I rotate my hip,
Uh-oh. Did your hip mute yourself? Did you mute yourself with the
I hit
hip?
the mute button trying to do the torn labrum thing. Either way, look, folks, you probably didn't hear it because I hit the mute button here. But if I had an ASMR like fucking mic, not one that blocked out background shit because I have noisy neighbors sometimes, you'd probably hear that my shit pops like fucking 4 or 5 times every time I rotate it fully around because I have literally a torn labrum in my left shoulder. So the fact that Sean said he had a torn labrum in his hip, when I told my significant other that, she's like, oh shit. Because like she knows. She understands when it acts up and how it feels. And I'm like, I mean, it's not ideal for going against a wrestler or a grappler in general. But I truly think that it happened during the fight. I mean, he also said in his podcast this week, I got to give credit where credit's due. Sean did admit, like, I'm not going to make any like excuses. This was a great camp. This was a great, I felt great, etc. But again, that's why I led with like, hey, if you hear that the guy is Casanova and then you go on a date with him and he's like a chump, who can you trust? So if the same guy is saying, well, I felt great going into this fight, it was the best camp of my life, and the same guy on a different outlet is saying, I had a torn labrum in my hip for the last 10 weeks, couldn't even train wrestling to go against a wrestler. For me, that guy loses all relevance. And I mean, Tommy thought that I was the guy in the fucking Bass Pro Shop sunglasses yelling at him and crying earlier. So like, I don't know if you've seen Sugar Sean's podcast. You should definitely check that out with Schmitty, I think his name was.
Yep, Schmitty. Mm-hmm.
Schmitty yelling and crying. Like, dude is literally living in one of Sean's houses in Arizona. Like, can we just say, like, foul play, bro? Suck it the fuck up, kid. You got to see the fights live. You are getting to live rent free, which most people say is an insult, like I'm rent free in your mind. This dude's living rent free in life. because of Sean O'Malley. Just take the W, bro. And bro, I walked up to Georgians and I fucking said, fuck you, dude. And they could have beat me up. Then maybe don't walk up to fucking fighters and say, fuck you. Unless, like, you're ready for the repercussions, big dog.
Yeah, he's talked about that before, too. I listened to the pod myself, and yeah, he's like, oh, like, he said stuff on social media, and, like, they've commented back, and it's like, and Sean's called him out before, like, dude, like, don't say stuff to them. Like, you might actually see these guys. Like, you're not just, like, kind of like a regular fan, which even then, like, shouldn't be doing anyways, but you might actually see them, and you know, talking to them all crazy in the DMs. It's like, come on, it's never a good look. It's never a good look. But yeah, that was
fun fact. Like a really good example of that is, like, you know, you got Lightning Lee Murray. If you don't know him, if you never heard of him, look him up. Pulled off the largest bank heist in English history. Also a UFC fighter. He stopped fighting in the UFC because of this. Mm-hmm. Fun fact. Do you know what happened before that bank heist? Tito Ortiz talked shit about him, and then he one-shotted him in a fucking parking lot after he got his UFC contract shortly. Drunk. And then he also one-shotted like 5 other fucking guys. So, like, thank you, dude. 36 million. Tommy, hell yeah. Let's go, dude. If you haven't watched the Lightning Lee Murray fucking documentary, just a fucking chef's kiss. Just a fucking chef's kiss. Dude.
Hell yeah.
Bro. Let's fucking go. Honestly, like, I watched that on a plane ride home one time, and it was just fantastic. I obviously knew who he was. He came out to the, like, Hannibal Lecter, like, face mask shit.
So sick.
Dude, so sick.
So sick.
I think Lee Murray is probably the greatest what if in mixed martial arts. If not the greatest, top 3. So yeah, man. Going back to the fight, I feel like Merab Dvalishvili just went out there and did every single thing that he needed to do to dominate this fight. His opponent's coach tried to yell at him right away. You need to be patient, Merab. Which is exactly the opposite thing that he yelled to his predecessor, who was his best friend, Aljo. You gotta go, Aljo! So the fighter that counters and grapples, you're gonna yell, you gotta go! And the fighter that constantly pressures, you're gonna yell, you gotta be patient. You can't honestly tell me that that is not excessive coaching. Have I ever heard of that rule before? No. But I've heard of it now. If it's a real rule and we're not supposed to excessively coach, or rather coach other people's fighters that are not our own, I think that makes absolute sense. And I mean, after seeing what happened last fight with Aljo, come on. You can't say he didn't influence him to go. So I'm with him on this. Let's see. How much money do we have to put into this to get better exposure? In the UFC or in this podcast? In this podcast, I'm not quite sure. We're trying to do it organically, and we've been doing pretty decently. We started really making episodes like about 2.5 years ago, and on YouTube, we're up to a little over like 1.6K subscribers. But man, I'm really trying to get us some more exposure, man.
Tell your friends, tell the fam, baby. Put us out there.
It's you, man. You got to tell your friends. You got to tell your fam. You got to tell everybody to tune in. Retweet all that stuff. Post the YouTube links on your Twitter. All that stuff, man. It honestly just helps if you go on the YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff after we wrap up. It really, really does help and go a long way. And even just commenting in the live stream like this, it goes an extremely long way, Tommy. So we really appreciate it.
Does wonders.
Shout out.
Much appreciated, brother.
Do me a favor. After this, send me a DM, and I'd love to send you some kind of merch for free, my guy. Just I'll get your address and information after the podcast, please. On me. So yeah, we did say that we would talk about a few things after this main event. Man, what was it? I know that we talked about it. It was another fight, right? John Jones. Will John Jones retire after Stipe Miocic? I told him we'd answer that after.
Maybe.
He says he will.
Oh, he did? Ooh. So he's not interested in Alex or Tommy, it sounds like.
Oh, man. Look, I truly think that if John Jones fights Stipe, he will probably beat him because from a age standpoint, from a stylistic standpoint, it just makes sense for John Jones to win that fight. And then I do think that he will actually end up retiring. I mean, he's mentioned it before too. Like he said that after he beats Stipe, he'll probably retire. So I think John Jones is a man of his word. I also think he's a cheater, but he's a man of his word. He's admitted to cheating in fucking documentaries. So again, he is a man of his word. I think he will retire after the Stipe win because he does not want to face Tommy Aspinall.
Yeah, as you get older, it's like, what do you have to prove? I mean, you went out there, you beat a Cyril Gane, you got the title, you go out, you beat the supposed best heavyweight ever in a Stipe. Yeah, I mean, what more do you have to prove? And at that point, health is even an issue, right? Like he's not even healthy, or I guess I should say not able to make it through a full camp without getting hurt. I mean, the pec injury. This is why we're talking about it, 8 months later now. It almost didn't happen altogether. Yeah, I mean, if you're John, man, you see the writing on the walls in the sense of like, it's a young man's game. You did everything you need to do. Go get one more payday, and that's probably solid. Honestly, I would love to see him fight Alex Bejeda, to be totally honest with you. Or maybe Tommy. I guess Tommy honestly makes the most sense, but just seeing him and Alex square off would be so fun. At like a random catch weight or something, like 220 or I don't know, whatever it is. But I guess they would just be heavyweights, honestly. But yeah, man, all to say, that's the GOAT, and all the GOATs are starting to retire and hang him up. Demetrius Johnson just did as well recently. Huge shout out to him. Quick shout out. Yeah, man, I mean, I think he should win pretty handily, to be honest, against Stipe. I heard Stipe's looking big. I heard he's getting beefy, so we'll see. We'll see.
He's doing drugs.
I want
you to screen record this. That's for you, Tommy.
I love it. We got the receipts, baby. These are live, and it is on our channel. It will. I'll record myself. I got you.
I'm up for the debate. Tommy, of the CEO of EPO. I think it might be John.
Jeez.
Oh man. No, I've look, as Dana White says, I was never John Jones's friend. Okay. I've never been a John Jones fan. I've trained with Daniel Cormier. I've met the guy. My first mixed martial arts gym I really trained at was American Kickboxing Academy. So I will never be a John Jones fan. Okay. Let's go. I will take your bets and leverage them with mine. Let's fucking go, bro. I'll be honest with you. Look, I'll flash my bets up right now for you, my guy. I didn't do the best on my bets this week. Let me take away the banner for you. So we had Sean O'Malley, Alexa Grasso, Diego Lopez parlay. Obviously didn't fucking hit. Sean O'Malley to win by sub. It was too juicy to not take, and he almost got it with that triangle choke. I know you synced it. Sean O'Malley to win via finish. I mean, again, plus 140. Probably the last time you'll get those odds against a challenger for the belt, right? And then Mexico parlay. I did it for fun. Half unit to win almost 30 units. Come on, kid. You got to do it. Little did I know they would go fucking 6 for 8 on that. And then again, I covered the spread with Merab Dvalishvili versus Valentina Shevchenko to wrap up the podcast, to wrap up the parlay. We knew that was going to happen. If one wins, the other's going to win. Nano shaking it out right now.
Stretching for the charger. That's hilarious.
I love that. No parlays.
Yeah, I think we just got to do single bets.
If you win, I will invest the parlays in growing your channel. Let's fucking go, bro.
It's basically what we do. Put it right back in it. Come on, baby.
That's actually exactly what we do.
Much appreciated, Tommy. You're the man.
Tommy, I'll pour one last one for the fucking episode, man. Just because of Tommy here. We'll do it for Tommy. Do it for fucking Tommy, man.
Do it for Tommy, man.
Do it for Tommy, man.
This reminded me of Rocky as well. You were mentioning, you were talking about something earlier, and it made me think of the Rock, like someone's having their Rocky 3 moment. Who was that? Was that Sugar? I think just. Might need to get that poster behind me. I was trying to think too. Ooh,
baby, do it, baby. Let's go.
Got to.
10K, let's go.
I don't know where to number, baby.
Sorry, let me turn it around so that way we can see the Cobra, baby. Let's go. This one is to Tommy. Hell yeah, it is.
Hell yeah. Cheers to you all. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the patronage. Let's go.
So, with that being said, folks, that was the final fight of UFC 306. There's no other fight card until September 28th. So what that means is we don't have a fight card this coming weekend. Instead, we have a little bit of a bye week, as we like to say in the fantasy football realm and the football realm in general. So David, nice to meet you, my guy. My name is Olin. This is Nano, aka the fucking Jive Turkey himself. And we are pleased to meet you. David happens to be one of my favorite names of all time, my friend. Let's go. I love that. Vikings. Love that, bro. Let's fucking go, dude. Let's go, kid. Let's go.
Having a good year, too. How about Sam Darnold and them boys? Go Skull. They're cooking some up now.
They cooking something up like them Saints, baby.
They are also cooking right now. Who they? Gee wee wees. You heard?
Not who they. Who that?
Who that?
Who that, baby? Gotta come correct and talk about them Saints, baby. Let's go. About to make a name for myself out here. So
they are.
Again, folks, it'll be a 1-episode week. Typically, we like to do 2 episodes a week, but when there is only one UFC fight card, we like to keep it slim, lean, mean, keep it like a machine, like Merab. So we are only doing 1 episode this week. We'll do another 1 episode next week when it comes to the one, the only UFC fight night, Moicano versus Benoit Saint-Denis, a.k.a. Benny St. Denny, folks. We'll see you here, same time, same place next week. And please, if you are new, old, anywhere in between, do us a favor. If you're on Twitter, please hit us with the retweet. And if you're on YouTube, hit us with the like, comment, subscribe, and smash that bell for notifications. Anywhere else, you know what the fuck to do. Either way, we appreciate you. And the one only thing that we really, really ask you to do on this fucking podcast, above all else, is this. Keep on going and keep on growing, folks. We'll see you next week.
You've been listening to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. As you may have been able to tell, we dig the MMA, and our passion is to dive deep into the upcoming fights, give you our expert breakdowns, and help you make sense of all the chaos that is the fight game. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, make sure to find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at MMAnomaly. Be cool, and we'll see you next time.